Just like pilots rely on navigation instruments to stay on course, educators use assessment to track student progress, adjust instruction, and ensure that we are all headed toward a meaningful learning outcomes. Today, we embark on an exciting journey to our presentation titled Assessment of Learning, A Flight to Success, Navigating Assessment of Learning Strategies. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff. Welcome aboard, passengers. This is BSA Airlines Flight PRE2, plane number 7. I am Stephanie Ulet, your Chief Navigator. I'll be guiding you through the fundamentals, what assessment means, why we use it, and how it keeps our learning journey on track. Just like pilots use flight plans, teachers use assessment to guide student progress.
This is your co-pilot Marielle reporting. I'll be delivering the weather report, formative and summative assessments. Whether it's turbulence or tailwinds, we'll learn how teachers adapt and how students reach their final landing zone.
I'm Linus, your flight engineer. I'll be checking on the internal system of assessment and evaluation. Think of me as the one inspecting our educational engine and troubleshooting through the 5-step evaluation process.
Hello, travelers. I am Key Angel, your in-flight services manager. I'll be serving up assessment tools, rubric portfolios, peer assessment, self-snaps, everything you'll need for a smooth, enriching learning experience.
And I am Captain Melchior. As your pilot, I'll make sure we land smoothly. I'll take you through reflective practice and the importance of designing effective assessments. Because the best flights always learn from past journeys.
Now that you've met your flight crew, let us fasten our seatbelts and review today's flight plan objectives before we take off. First, we will define what assessment is. This is our starting coordinates on this learning map. Next, we will explore what is the function and purpose of assessment, understanding why it is a critical tool in every educator's cockpit. Third, we will navigate the skies between formative and summative assessment, learning the difference between mid-flight check-ins and final landing evaluations. Fourth, we will uncover the principles of assessment for learning, the key instrument that helps students become co-pilots of their own learning. Fifth, we will clarify how assessment and evaluation differ, so we are not flying blind between process and product. And finally, we will land on the runway of classroom assessment tools, the checklist, portfolios, rubrics, and reflections that support a smooth learning flight. Now that we have uncovered our pre-flight briefings, sit back, stay alert, and prepare for a smooth and insightful ride as we soar high into the assessment of learning. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now landing on our first destination, defining what assessment is. Just as every journey begins with a clear takeoff point, understanding the meaning of assessment sets the course for everything that follows. Let us explore what is this vital instrument means in our educational flight. As we teach, it is important to assess and evaluate the teaching and learning process to ensure the learning objectives are achieved. In aviation, a cockpit dashboard provides a real-time data about the aircraft's performance, altitude, speed, and direction, and engine status. These help the pilot to stay on course and respond to any issues. In the world of education, assessment is like a cockpit dashboard. It is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information about students' learning progress. Just as pilot checks instrument to ensure that they are on course, teachers use assessment to determine whether students are mastering the content or there is a need for further support. Assessment is more than just simply giving marks or grades. It helps educators understand where learners are now, where they need to go, and how best to get them there. So in short, assessment is the process of gathering evidence of student learning in order to make informed teaching decisions. We have just completed our first destination, defining what assessment is. Now we are preparing for our next destination, the function and purpose of assessment. So why do we need to assess student learning? The assessment has two central purposes. First is to provide information on learners' achievement and progress. Just as pilots rely on real-time data to navigate storms and optimize their flight path, educators use assessment to ensure that no learner is left behind. Assessment works as a tool in tracking the learner's progress. It tells us how far students have gone and what still lies ahead. It clarifies the strengths and highlights the areas that needs adjustment. But that is not the only purpose of assessment. The second central purpose is to set the direction for an ongoing improvement in the teaching and learning process. Assessment also sets the coordinates for ongoing improvement in teaching and learning. Think of it as our autopilot system. By analyzing student progress and feedback, educators are able to refine their teaching methods, ensuring every lesson climbs higher toward mastery. Together, these insights guarantee that we don't just land safely at the airport, but also it allows us to chart a smoother, smarter journey for future lessons. Assessment isn't just about giving tests. It serves multiple essential functions. Just like every gauge or indicator in a plane plays a specific role in a safe journey. Like monitoring altitude, assessment tells us how far students have come and what still lies ahead. And that is why it serves a function that helps us to identify learners' current performance and to determine any particular learner stage of development. Just as co-pilot provide updates during turbulence, assessment provide learners with feedback on their performance in order to improve their journey. Pilots adjust their path on weather, the same as teachers adjust their teaching method based on assessment data. And through this, educators are able to gain information about learners' specific instructional needs, identify any concepts or procedures that may need to be retaught or reviewed, and check on the overall efficacy of the teaching learning program. Seeing a clear goal and knowing how close they are to reaching them can fuel student motivation like passengers seeing their destination on a map. And in the final approach, assessment confirms whether students have met their learning objectives, and therefore it serves a function of for reviewing transfer and certification. Now that we have understand our flight purpose, it is time to check the skies. Co-pilot Marielle, can you update us on the weather conditions ahead?
Copy that, navigator. This is your co-pilot speaking, Marielle. We've got some cloud cover, formative assessments, and clear skies, summative assessments. Coming up, let's explore how these patterns affect our learning flight. Let's have the types of assessment. We have formative assessments, and we also have summative assessment. Formative assessment, it is carried out throughout a course or project to aid learning. Think of this as our pre-flight checks. It's a continuous monitoring throughout the learning journey. We're not aiming for a final grade here, but rather using feedback to make in flight adjustments to our teaching strategy. It's all about ensuring a smooth learning experience for our students. Now, we're approaching the final destination, the summative assessment. This is our final landing. The overall evaluation is at the end of a unit or course. It determines the overall performance, but even the final approach can be creative, like podcasts and projects. Again, let's have a recap. Formative assessment occurs during the learning journey. It helps teachers adjust instruction in real time. It is usually not graded and it focuses more on feedback and improvement. On the other hand, summative assessment occurs at the end of a unit, project, or course. It is evaluative and used to assign final grades. It judges overall performance, and just like what I've said, it can be creative, like podcasts, plays, or projects. A little turbulence ahead. Let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Turbulence quiz. You have to identify whether the scenario is a formative assessment or a summative assessment. Number one, a student creates a portfolio. Is it formative or summative? Answer, formative. Number two, final exam after a semester. Is it formative or summative? Answer, summative. Number three, regular class polls on Mentimeter. Is it formative or summative? Answer, formative. Number four, a recorded podcast graded at the end. Is it formative or summative? Answer, summative. And now we're done. Let's have the principles of assessment for learning. The 5K principles for a successful flight. The principles of assessment for learning. These are our navigational aids ensuring a smooth and effective learning journey. Number one, the active involvement of learners in their own learning. Students are not passive recipients of information, but active participants in constructing their own understanding, leading to deeper learning and better retention. Number two, the provision of effective feedback to learners. Meaningful feedback, focusing on both strengths and weaknesses, which guides learners toward improvement and helps them understand their learning process. Number three, adjusting teaching to take account of the result of assessment. Assessment data informs instructional decisions, allowing teachers to adapt their methods to better meet the students' individual needs and learning styles. Number four, recognition of the profound influence assessment has on learners' motivation and self-esteem. Assessment's impact on students' emotional engagement and learning is significant. Positive feedback and encouragement are crucial for fostering confidence and a growth mindset. Last principle, the need for learners to be able to assess themselves and understand how to improve. Self-assessment empowers the student to take ownership of their learning, fostering metacognitive skills and promoting independent learning strategies. Those are the 5 principles of assessment for learning. Now, we've flown through our weather updates. Time now for a system check. Flight engineer, how's our engine holding up?
Thanks, co-pilot Mariel. Now let's pop open the engine bay and examine the key difference between assessment and evaluation and run through our five-step maintenance protocol. So, time for an engine check. Assessment is like monitoring fuel levels mid-flight. So while evaluation is the post-flight inspection report. So let's troubleshoot the five-step evaluation process. Just like flying a plane, teaching requires continuous monitoring and a final review to ensure a safe landing. Pilots don't wait until the flight is over to check their instruments. They assess fuel levels, engine performance, and navigation throughout the journey. So similarly, teachers assess students' learning progress while instruction is ongoing. So once the flight is complete, engineers conduct a post-flight inspection to determine overall success. In education, this is equivalent to evaluation, where teachers measure whether the students have achieved the learning objectives. Today, we'll explore how assessment and evaluation work together to ensure a smooth learning journey. So, let's start with assessment. Assessment is the process of monitoring learning progress. Think of it like checking fuel's level and engine performance during a flight. Pilots need real-time data to ensure everything is running smoothly. Similarly to teachers, use assessment to track student understanding and identify areas for improvement while learning is still happening. So now, let's come now to evaluation. So evaluation is different. Evaluation is the judgment of learning after instruction. It's like post-flight inspection report. After landing, engineers analyze the flight data to determine overall success. In education, evaluation measures whether students have achieved the learning objectives, providing a final assessment of their performance. To summarize the differences between assessment and evaluation, let's look at this comparison. So assessment is ongoing, process-focused, and helps improvement, just like monitoring an aircraft engine mid-flight. Evaluation, on other hand, is final, product-focused, and determines success, just like reviewing a maintenance checklist after landing. So both are essential in education, just as they are an aviation without assessment. We wouldn't know if adjustments are needed during learning, and without evaluation, we wouldn't know if the learning journey was successful. Now, let's dive deeper into how this process works in education. So, now that we understand the differences between assessment and evaluation, let's break down the five-step evaluation process. Just like troubleshooting an aircraft before, during, and after a flight. So, step one, identifying and defining general objectives. So before a flight takes off, pilots must define their route and destination. So similarly in education, the first step in evaluation is determining what needs to be evaluated and setting clearly learning objectives. Without a flight plan, a pilot wouldn't know where to go. Likewise, without clear objectives, teachers wouldn't know what student needs to achieve. Step 2 is selecting teaching points. So once the objectives are set, the next step is selecting the right teaching points, just like choosing the best flight path for efficiency and safety. In aviation, pilots consider weather conditions, fuel efficiency, and air traffic when selecting a route. So in education, teachers choose the curriculum, syllabus, and course material that will help students reach their learning goals. So now let's come to step 3, which is planning suitable teaching and learning activities. So a pilot doesn't just take off without preparation. There must be a plan for handling turbulence, adjusting altitude, and ensuring a smooth flight. So similarly to teachers, teachers must structure effective learning activities that align with objectives and teaching points. So this includes interactive lessons, discussions, and exercises that keep students engaged and on track. Step 4 is evaluating, which is observing and measuring student progress. So mid-flight, pilots continuously monitor fuel levels, engine performance, and navigation systems to ensure everything is running smoothly. So this is just like how teachers observe and measure students' progress through assessments, quizzes, and discussions. If a pilot notices an issue mid-flight, adjustments are made immediately. Likewise, teachers use evaluation to identify learning gaps and modify teaching approaches before students fall behind. So, last step is using the results as a feedback. So, after landing, pilots and engineers conduct a post-flight inspection to analyze flight data and improve future performance. In education, teachers do the same, using evaluation results to refine lessons plan and instructional strategies. If learning gaps exist, teachers consider objectives and modify teaching approaches to enhance comprehension, ensuring students are fully prepared for the next learning journey. So again, evaluation is an ongoing process. Just like aviation, education requires constant monitoring, adjustments, and refinement to ensure a smooth journey for learners. By following these 5 steps, teachers can ensure students stay on track toward mastering learning objective, just like pilots ensuring safe and successful flights. So all diagnostics are complete. Our system are go, but passengers need the right tools on board in flight services. What's on the menu?
With pleasure. Today, we are serving up a powerful learning tools, rubric sandwiches, portfolio parfaits, and peer review pancakes. Get ready to explore your learning toolkit.
Good day, I'm Kay Angel Labarosa, and I'll be sharing something very important when it comes to teaching and learning. Something na hindi lagi napapansin pero sobrang essential sa classroom. So, ang topic po natin ay class assessment tools. At kung iisipin lalim ang natutunan ng mga estudyante, pero hindi lang siya tungkol sa grading. These tools also help improve learning habang nangyayari pa ang klase. So, let me start first with rubric sandwiches. Ang rubric po ay parang guide or checklist na may malinaw na pamantayan kung paano i-evaluate ang gawa ng estudyante. Nandun ang mga criteria o batayan, tapos may kasama itong mga level of performance. Kung saan, nakikita ko ba kung pasok ba sa excellent, good, fair, o needs improvement ang output ng isang learner. Sa tulong ng rubric, hindi na hulaan ang pag-grade. Alam ng teacher kung ano ang dapat tignan at alam din ng estudyante kung ano ang dapat nilang i-deliver. Halimbawa sa FAR, kung meron mga group project like creating a complete set of financial statements for a creating a complete set of financial statements for a simulated business. Hindi lang basta completeness ang tinitingnan ng mga output na ganyan. Sa rubric, pwedeng kasama sa criteria ang like accuracy of journal entries or clarity of financial statements and team collaboration. So kahit parehong mga output, iba-iba pa rin ang mga strength and weaknesses per group. And the rubric helps both the teacher and the student to see that clearly. Next, let's talk about portfolios. The student portfolio ay parang collection ng mga gawa ng estudyante. Parang scrapbook o diary ng kanyang learning journey. Pero sa accountancy is more like a progress ledger. So kasama dito ang mga assignments, quiz results, corrections, reviewer notes, reflections, and yung mga group outputs na nagpapakita ng growth over time. So it's not just about final grades, but about the development of the learner. So let's say sa cost accounting, nagkaroon ng mga case studies on cost allocation. So sa portfolio, pwedeng ilagay ng estudyante ang first attempt niya, feedback ng professor or ng teacher, ang revised version ng student regarding sa feedback ng teacher, at personal reflection mo paano niya naintindihan ang mga concepts. So, pwede rin ilagay ang mga computations or like kanyang way of solving the problem. Next, let's move on to self-assessment, which I think is powerful lalo na sa courses ng accounting, like accounting, na madalas nakaka-drain mentally. Dito, ang estudyante mismo ang nagre-reflect at sinusuri ang sarili nilang gawa. Like, they'll ask themselves, nakuha ko ba ang tamang entries? Like, or, ano ba ang kailangan ko i-review before the quiz? Or, saan ba ako nagkamali ng ganyan? So, ganitong paraan ay nakakatulong para sa mas ma-develop ang critical thinking at self-awareness ng learners. Hindi na sila nakaasa sa sinasabi ng teacher, kundi natututo silang magsuri sa sarili nilang kakayahan. Let's say a student failed the quiz regarding on bank reconciliation. So sa self-assessment niya, she might realize na hindi nila naintindihan ang concept ng bank reconciliation. So with this awareness, mas madali silang matutulungan ng teachers or peers. And speaking of peers, let's now go to peer assessment. Dito ang mga students ang nabibigay ng feedback sa gawa ng kanilang mga kaklase. So, pwedeng during group recitations, case analysis presentations, or even mock board type problem solving. So let's say my group audit report presentation sa auditing. So after the presentation, ang ibang group ay magbibigay ng feedback based sa criteria ng teachers na like tama ba ang interpretation ng findings ng grupong yon, ganun, or logical ba ang conclusion nila, ethical ba. Sa ganitong paraan, mas naging collaborative and reflective ang learning. So to sum it all up, itong apat na tools, rubrics, portfolios, self-assessments, at peer assessments, lahat sila ay may kanya-kanyang role sa loob ng classroom. Hindi lang sila basta para magbigay ng grade, kundi para suportahan ang learning ng bawat estudyante. Lalo na sa technical at skill-heavy courses tulad ng accountancy. So ang teacher po ay hindi lang basta tagapagturo, isa rin siyang guide na tumutulong sa mga estudyante para makita at i-develop ang sarili nilang kakayahan. At sa tulong ng class assessment tools, parang may co-pilot ang bawat learner sa kanilang paglalakbay sa kaalaman. Kaya ulitin natin ang ating menu for today: rubric sandwiches for clear expectations, portfolio parfaits for progress tracking, and peer and self-review pancakes for building teamwork and accountability. Sa ganitong paraan, hindi lang sila natututos para pumasa. Natututo sila para matuto. And that's the heart of a meaningful education. Our trays are cleared and your minds are full. Captain, we're ready for final descent.
Excellent work, crew. As we prepare to land, let's open the flight log and reflect what worked, what didn't, and how to improve our next educational journey. Deploy the feedback flaps. It's time to reflect and design. Now, we will discuss reflective practice and designing assessments. Reflective practice means it's the ability to reflect on your own actions in order to engage in a process of continuing learning. And it is a way of studying your own experiences to improve the way you teach. And it is very useful for teachers who want to carry on professional learning through their teaching career. The act of reflection is a great way to increase confidence and become a more proactive and qualified professional. All teachers, just as any other professional, have a duty of care to enhance their skills and knowledge via a process of continuous reflective practice, as it is an integral part of maintaining professional status. A teacher should be able to observe her or his behavior, feelings, thoughts, skills, attitude, biases from an objective viewpoint. It offers teachers a more true understanding of dilemmas in their classroom and promotes new ways of thinking. Next slide. And now, uh, there are let's discuss the functionalities of reflective practice. And the first is it can help teachers recognize and continue good practice. Second, it can make teachers become aware of aspects of current practices that could be improved. And last, it can help teachers identify areas that requires considerable attention. Next slide. And now, let's discuss designing assessments. Designing assessments means planning evaluation tasks that align with course goals and measures student learning. And it involves deciding what to assess, how and when to gather evidence of learning. These are the examples of well-designed classroom assessment. First is weekly quizzes. Short online or in-class quizzes on recent content with automatic feedback because they are frequent and low pressure, they give students practical and immediate insight into what they understand. Example, using clickers or a learning app. Second is lab reports or science projects. In science classes, students might conduct an experiment and write a formal report. A rubric guides them on content and format. This assesses skills like hypothesis testing and data analysis in a realistic way. Third is research projects. For history or English, students might research a topic and present a report or presentation broken into scaffolding steps. Examples are proposal, annotated bibliography, draft, and final. Each step has criteria, and students get feedback at each stage, such as such a project is authentic, like solving a real research problem, and aligned to critical thinking outcomes. Number four is role play or simulation. In social studies, students might role play a debate on a historical event or civic issue. This performance-based task uses a rubric to assess communication skills and content knowledge in a real-world format. Number five is portfolios. Students collect their best work like essays, art projects, lab assignments throughout the term. A final reflection and rubric guide them in self-evaluating how their skills have grown. Portfolios provide a rich picture of learning progress over time. And last, for number six, peer and self-assessment. In group projects, students use a clear rubric to give feedback on each other's contributions. This not only assesses collaboration skills but also engages learners in reflective assessment of their own work. And that ends our presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with us on BSE Airlines Flight PRE2 plane number 7. As we approach our final destination, let's take a moment to reflect on our journey.
We have navigated the skies of assessment, from understanding its definition and purpose
To weathering the types of assessments.
We inspected the engine of evaluation,
sample the tools available on board,
And now, We land with new insights through reflective practice.
Assessment, like aviation, is not just about destination. It is about navigating the journey with precision, awareness, and improvement. As educators, it is their responsibility to adjust mid-flight, review the flight logs, and continuously design better experiences for the learners. We hope that your baggage today is full of learning, inspiration, and a renewed sense of purpose. This has been your assessment crew. Thank you for joining us on this learning adventure. Until next time, fly high, teach smart, and assess with heart.
Yay, yung man na.